Well, I mean, I've been disappointed at the U.S. response. Well, Syria is my research area, so maybe I'm not entirely objective, but Syria is a country that borders 5 countries. It borders Iraq, Turkey. Turkey's a NATO country, um, Jordan, Israel, and Lebanon. And how can the United States and the West just ignore a country falling apart, whose whose revolutionaries will obviously destabilize the countries on its borders? I mean, how could that be ignored? I thought the Obama administration was simply ignoring it by reason of the complexity of the situation. And it was a complex situation, but in ignoring it, it has only gotten worse. So now, having said that, I mean, I would like for the U.S. to have made an effort, not militarily initially. I think the U.S. should have been very aggressive in terms of diplomacy and have tried to bring Assad, Nusra Front, and the Syrian Liberation Army, to talks. This is before ISIS entered the picture. Now you couldn't possibly have ISIS in talks, but you could in the earlier days of the revolution have brought 3 parties, I think, to the table and have tried to work out something. But one would have had to be very aggressive in diplomacy. You can't make someone like Assad step down. And the situation is really complicated by the fact that Assad is a member of a very minority Shiite sect that's actually widely hated in the Islamic world. But Iran forged an alliance with this sect on the basis of their common Shiism, although the Shiism that Iran practices is an Orthodox Shiism, which has nothing to do with the Shiite sect of Syria. But nevertheless, Iran, for political reasons, forged this alliance so that she could have a political alliance with Syria. And so Iran has really propped Syria up. But there were peace talks called, I guess, by the United States eventually, but these were multinational talks, which included everyone, Iran. And I want to say, what does Iran have to do with Syria? Syria is a country of Arabs. I mean, Iranians are non-Arabs. Saudi Arabia, what does Saudi Arabia have to do with Syria? There's no common border. So I think that the Obama administration made the mistake of calling all of these countries to the table. I feel that too many cooks spoil the broth. I mean, I think that there should have been a Western nation there, need not have been the United States, and the Syrian government proper, and what were then the 2 groups fighting against it, and really try to work something out. I mean, it would have taken really aggressive diplomacy and a lot of compromise, and I think that Assad should have been forced, if one could force him, to step down, but to leave power, to step down formally, but he could leave the rest of his government in place as a transitional government, and a transitional government before a final government could be worked out that would have to be representative of all of Syria's political parties, including the Shiites of Syria, the Alawis of Syria. So it would have been very difficult to work this out through aggressive diplomacy, and it may not have succeeded, but I would have liked to have seen us try. But the course that Obama took with this multi-nation diplomacy was dead on arrival. There's no way that you get Iran. I mean, Iran has no interest in seeing Assad step down. Assad is Iran's ally. Iran and Saudi Arabia don't see eye to eye, and to bring them into the picture, I mean, it guaranteed that those peace talks could not succeed. So I think there's a failure of diplomacy, but I have to say at the same time, diplomacy may not have worked.